Okay, and this is the last part of my project, which was the history of treatment in this macro-social environment. And so this was pretty exciting for me because I was able to go through the history of treatment of African Americans and African American males. So let's get to it. First, it starts off with slavery. Of course, we all know slaves were chattel. They were property, they were replaceable, they were essentially furniture or animals to the slave master. So it starts off there, and that's where the institution of racism began, like the inferiority. That's where it all started. And so there, the author was saying that the African American males lost our sense of identity right there. This is where it began. So then we go to black codes and Jim Crow laws, and so we have the Emancipation Proclamation. Yes, while it did abolish slavery, it really didn't give African Americans or African American males the freedom that they were desiring. We have Jim Crow laws that basically legalize the separation of races in public places like parks, schools, transportation. And we also have black codes, which made it hard for employment for African American males. So it essentially made it hard for them to get employed and to also bring money home to their family. During the Jim Crow laws, we also have the rise in lynching. And so this is where black males were targeted specifically for this activity. And so it was just that, an activity. It was a sports activity amongst the white people at that time. And so there was a story that I read in the article, and it was saying that there was a white boss, a black man, and the wife of the boss was white. And so the boss had fired the black man, and the wife had accused the black man of raping her. So the black man killed the boss, and the white woman told people that he killed her husband and that he raped her. And so there was also a hypersexualization of our African American males. And so if it was said that a white woman was raped by a black man, the family was targeted, and also the male. And so in the end of the story, the black man, he was his body parts ripped apart, and he was hung, or he was lynched. So that was going on in that time. It was a certain amount. There were hundreds of amounts of like instances of lynching over a short period of time. That's how bad it was. We also fast forward to the Tuskegee experiment, but that doesn't include African American males from age 15 to 24. The Tuskegee experiment actually included African American males 25 and up. So that is not in this portion of the project, but I did put on the timeline. Then we have the Civil Rights Movement, which led to the Voting Rights Act and also the Civil Rights Act. And so this is giving African Americans more power, they're giving more freedom, but the treatment is still not as good as they would like it to be. And finally, we have the crack crisis. And so this is where it really went downhill. So essentially, at first, it was cocaine as like the white drug. It was acceptable because the white movie stars were using it, and so it was okay. However, then we have the introduction of crack, and so as crack came, the color of the drug changed, and so it went from cocaine, which is a white drug, to crack, which is a black drug. And so now that black people are using it, it's a problem. So the Anti-Drug Act in 1984, which basically created harsher sentences for crack. So essentially harsher sentences for African American males. And here we see like a mass incarceration, a mass movement from the homes to the prisons for our African American males. We see our African American males in their homes, their neighborhoods, their communities are being taken away. So it's basically a disappearing of our African American males. And so I have a quote up here that actually goes along with it very well. I'm going to read it. The demonization of the black man was a way to discredit and destroy him in the eyes of not only the world, but the black woman and the black child. And so that really hit home because, of course, that makes sense. If you're taking away black men from their homes, you're taking away from their children and their wives. And so it's just like you're creating a cycle that is going to be hard to be broken. If the father's not in the home, who's helping raise the son? Who's helping raise the daughters? So that really hit home for me. But this is also a time where the words ghetto, crack house, crack baby, urban, those all began to be associated with our black community and our black homes.